I'll start the lands up, set the landscape here, but that service, and I wouldn't necessarily include hospitality in this service either, but service and wellness are not the same industry. We often get bundled together in service because we fall under that umbrella, but they're fundamentally different. So service is delivery, it's consistency, standards, execution, but wellness is about how you make people feel. So that's regulation, it's safety, it's human experience. And they can only work together if the service feels human, right? So this is the landscape that we're on when we're dealing with boutique hotels or hotels that don't have a spa, because transformation or transformational wellness is not a spa. It's not treatment rooms. It's not robes. It's how the space is held and how the place makes your guests feel, and how it changes them while they're there. That's the transformation. Often if you're looking at transformational wellness as it relates to spas, spas are transactional wellness, and they're very rarely transformational wellness. Wellness doesn't exist just in that one building. Wellness is transcendent, right? It exists everywhere in the property. So if you don't have a spa and you're wanting to provide, a transformational experience, which is always good because, now you're changing how people feel, and that obviously then promotes, it gives longevity to the loyalty to your property. But what I do when I work with interior designers and with architects, and we create wellness in all of the built environment so that your guests are able to have interactions with the environment itself. And that's using light, space, pace, rhythm, food, human interaction, which is incredibly important. So in that conversation, right, you switch to what is it that we offer? And now you've kind of moved into how does this place regulate people? Even right down to, your reception space. How does that regulate your guests when they first walk in? I see it, and I'm sure you guys have too, so many times that the spa reception is filled with administration. So now you've got an administrative office in the middle of a spa and wellness space. And when people come out of their massages, their first instinct is to protect their bliss, right? Um, but now you've got phone calls and emails and craziness happening and chaos because it's now they've used the anchor space, the reception in a spa. They've used it for administration. Likewise, if you're doing that in your hotel, boutique or otherwise, but likewise, if you're doing that in your hotel, it is the same interaction. So your guest experience will be that of chaos, and that's their benchmark. So um, you don't need I mean, listen, I've made a 25-year career out of building spas, but really you don't need a spa for wellness itself. It's everything that you offer that is transformative.
Experience over material consumption in a hotel. At the
Yes.
same time, they need emotional well-being. Emotional well-being, which is, I agree totally with Nigel when he said about the transactional, when someone goes to the spa. So they need that. And finally, and most importantly, they need community and belonging.
Hmm.
Now, this is what the global study says. I will talk to you based on my personal experience from my company. When we start Travel Gems, it wasn't so long time ago, it was back in 2019. We start doing retreats. At that time in US retreats there was a thing. In Europe nobody knew what retreat was. And now this year the market changed so much. So we reposition even our brand. And I will explain how this is linked to what you asked me, Elena. We reposition travel gems and we say, if you go to our site, that we are community architects. Why? Because every single place, and it doesn't matter if it has a spa or not, it needs to build this community and belonging that I told you a minute ago. So, in order to do this, you must be able to understand the DNA of the destination and to connect this with the essence of the hotel. So, in order to build the right strategy for that, you need to be able to understand that. This year, we launched something like a B2B initiative when we connect with hotels. I will give you an example that we do this year in order to see how we do it. We have a project in Paros, in Parilio Hotel, late September, and the name is called FOS. Paros heals our senses. We took the DNA of the place, of the Cycladic simplicity, and we connected with specific elements to create a big community gathering to an immersive weekend. Imagine that the hotel is going to operate only accepting bookings just for this project. They are not open for BB or leisure travelers. All the concept we create was exactly based on the destination. So
Mm.
the local experience is extremely important. We do something else in Switzerland, we use the DNA of Lucerne to do it, and so on. So this is very important, Elena. I hope I answered to your question.
You did. I keep the DNA. Very
Yeah,
important.
very
I,
important.
I'll just add to that very quickly
Yeah,
with
yeah.
everything Nikki said. With keeping the DNA is it's incredibly strategic because you're tapping into the wellness industry even if you don't have a spa, but you're also tapping into the experiential economy, which is very important.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah.
70% of millennials
Mm-hmm.
prefer experiences that allow them active participation and connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not only I prefer an experience to drive a car. No, 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 no. Active participation and connection.
Yep.
So
exactly.
it's not just I go to the longevity now, which is great that Anastasia managed, and we go. They need connection with like-minded individuals. And guys, I mean, we create that through the years after seeing the connections that we can create through the retreats we did in the past.
And
That's
Nikki, I have sorry, sorry, Elena.
Absolutely. Yes.
I have a project in the Swiss Alps. It's a ski resort, and they specifically came to me because they didn't want a spa. They want no treatments at all. So we've turned it into a wellness adventure, which is, you're right, it is connection. Everybody, when they arrive, everybody gets given an old-fashioned Polaroid. They hang the Polaroids up in the clubhouse. It's community. You have to ski in, you have to zip line out. So it's still wellness, but there's not a massage inside.